Probably the most beautiful song that Boston recorded was "Hitch a Ride." In my version of it, sometimes when I'm creating versions and there's a nice keyboard solo, I'll try to figure out how to do it on the guitar. There's no way I'm touching this keyboard solo on the guitar, and if I do want to include it, I'll just bring a keyboard and figure out how Tom Schultz played the keyboard line. Uh, so this is a fun song to sing. It is a tough song to play lead guitar on, especially since in any Boston song, if you're going to play lead guitar, especially if you're going to come up with a solo version, you have to pick out which of the 10 or 12 overlaid guitar tracks you're going to select for pretty much any moment. So this is my arrangement of Boston's Hitch a Ride. This night in New York City, smoke like water runs inside. Feel out of the trees of pity, every living thing that's died. Gonna hitch a ride, head to the other side, leave it all behind, never change my mind. Gonna sail away, sunrise another day, freedom of my mind, carry me away for the last time. Whoa, yeah. Life is like the coldest winter, people freeze the tears I cried. Well, from hell, the minds are wintered. I like to crack this ice and fly. Gonna hitch a ride, head toward the other side, leave it all behind, never change my mind. Gonna sail away, sunrise another day, freedom of my mind, carry me away for the last time. Going to ride, head toward the other side, leave it all behind, never change my mind. Gonna sail away, sunrise another day, freedom of my mind, carry me away for the last time. Teaching you how to do my version of Boston's Hitch a Ride is problematic in a lot of different ways. Uh, there are a lot of guitar teachers on YouTube who will show you some of the parts, and they may show you some of the lead parts. I've changed the arrangement quite a bit from the original arrangement that Tom Schultz created, just so that I could have something that sounds good in solo performance. So let me start with the rhythms of the song, and then we'll get into the lead here in a minute. So the iconic line, the very first thing that you hear in the song, is this beautiful rhythm guitar line, and it's extremely simple. So it's kind of like a power chord on the 7th fret of the D string and the 9th fret of the G string, and you start with the open A and just play it up and down. Now the trick is to slide that down so that you're on the you slide down from the 7th fret of the D string to the 5th fret of the D string, and that's actually part of the rhythmic line, is that slide down. So you have to kind of include that, and you know, you don't pick every single note in this particular pattern. There's that one note that's a slide down, and then you'll keep the little finger on the 7th fret of the G string, but you'll move your first finger down to the 4th fret of the D string, and then start with an A chord. And that's it. It's a very simple line. But it's extremely beautiful. And that's the foundation of the song. So the next part of the song, right, head toward the other side. This is the chorus. And Tom Schultz I don't think he really played chords on that section so much as he recorded single notes in several guitar overlays. And what I hear are these notes here. So I'm really, when I'm playing these chords, I'm really focusing the pick on the B and the G strings. I'm going to play the whole chord, but I'm not really going to try to pick it. And instead, I'm going to, by focusing, by just focusing on those two strings, but going ahead and hammering the chord on, and I'm really looking to the sympathetic vibrations to give me the rest of the chord kind of as a humming background, while I'm really focusing on strumming just those two strings. So the chords in this section are D, G, F sharp minor, E minor, A, E to A again, and then G to A. And then the second half of the chorus is very much the same, but it ends a little bit differently. D, G, F sharp minor, E minor, A, E minor, A, G, A, G, D. Okay, so coming out of the first chorus, the pattern is going to go from bring that up 2 frets to make an E chord. And don't worry about, go ahead and play the open D string. The dissonance will be fine. And then it'll go to an A major chord, then to a G, to a D, and then to an A. And then it'll go into the second verse. Now, the second time that you're coming out of the chorus, when you're coming out of the second chorus, it's going to go to the keyboard lead. And this is a ferocious keyboard lead, and there's no way that I'm going to try to attempt it on the guitar. If I'm, with a 3-piece ensemble and I want to do this song, I'll probably bring along a keyboard and figure out how Tom Schultz played that keyboard line and just play it on the keyboard for that section. So you're coming out of the chorus, hitch a ride, head toward the other side, leave it all behind, never change my mind, gonna sail away, sunrise another day, freedom of my mind, carry me away for the last time. So it'll go from the G to the A to an F sharp major, and then B and A. That's actually just a rhythm guitar line that's going on behind the keyboard solo, but it helps to build the song's transition. Just do it 4 times. go B, A, E. And then one iteration of the rhythm line for the verse, and then there's a acoustic guitar that comes in at that point that'll just play A, G, D, A. So I just went ahead and threw that in there to be reminiscent of that acoustic guitar line. You could simply play this line twice. A, G, D, A. And then there's a little lead line that I threw in there there's actually leads that run all the way through this section, but you know, for the most part I chose in this section to go with the rhythm line. But here I'm ending that section up with a little lead. So that's going to be on the 12, 13, 14, 15, 16th fret of the G string. And you just bend it up. And then that's a little turn from the 16th fret to the 14th fret. And then down to the 16th fret on the D string. Now I slide my first finger up here to do this part. I'm bending the 16th fret and I'm holding the 17th fret of the B string with my middle finger, because I'm going to do that little chord there. There's just a little A major chord up here that so that puts me in a good position to go up to the 18th fret and then have the little A major chord there. So on the 17th fret of the B and E strings. And then I'm back into the chorus. Right hand toward the other side. Now this time the chorus ends when it gets to the D. It'll come up and do this nice little riff with, again, it's just a little chordal pattern. And so that's just a D, and you're just vamping from 5 to 7 on the E string. And then you'll do exactly the same thing down 2 frets and vamp from 3 to 5 on the E string on a C chord. And then you play a G chord and do that same 3 to 5 vamp on the E string. And then play a D. Now I'm going to show you that long and very charismatic lead right at the end. I've altered this a lot from the original version. So if you're looking to figure out exactly what Tom Schultz did on this song, I'm not the guitar teacher for you. What I'm trying to do is to put together a version that I can put in front of an audience while I'm playing solo that'll be charismatic enough that it'll carry. And that's not necessarily easy to do with all the layered guitar leads, picking out pieces of the layered guitar leads that Tom Schultz provided in the original. However, there are plenty of little pieces that if you string them together, you can create that kind of a lead. And that's what I'm going to show you. So, now I'm pretty sure that Tom Schultz played that here. But since I'm playing with a lighter gauge of strings, and I've also got a tremolo bar, I need a little bit more meat where I play that riff. So I'm going to play it on the G and B strings instead of on the B and E strings, which I'm pretty sure this is where Tom Schultz originally came up with it. So I'm going to play it up here. So that starts on the 14th fret of the G string, and then the 15th fret of the B string. So we'll go 14 to 16 and back, and then 15 to 17 and back. And again, that's just using the same frets, just creating a little bend up and turn on the 15th and 17th frets of the B string. And then the last time it'll come down to 12 and 11 on the G string. Okay, now at this point I throw in this riff here. And now that's not in any way how Tom Schultz played that riff. That's just what I'm doing. Another reason that I'm using these riffs this way and playing this particular set of this particular arrangement with the strings is to get as loud a sound as I can out of the guitar, because I'm not using any distortion. I'm keeping the sound clean. I don't want to hassle with switching to distortion. And also playing solo, I'm generally playing a little bit more sedate audiences, so I use my distortion very, very sparingly when I'm playing solo. So this little section here, so that starts on the 11th fret of the G string, and I'm just hammering up 11, 12, 14, and then to the 12th fret of the B string, and just doing a little bit of a turn using those frets on the G string. And I come up to play this double stop here on the 19th fret and 17th fret on the B string and on the E string. So let me do all of that I've gotten so far very slowly. All that is 18, 17, 15 on the E string, and then the same thing on the B string with a little turn at the end of it, and then the 16th fret of the G string, and then that's 15 or I'm sorry, 17 on the E string to 15 on the B string. And then the little bends on the 17th fret of the B string. And then I'm going to come down here and do the same. Doing pretty much the same melody, but I'm spelling it a little bit differently because I'm in a different position. So let me do that part slowly. And I'm starting on the 9th fret of the G string. So I'm hitting the 9th fret of the D string there. I'm doing lots of bends and turns on the G string between the 9th and 7th frets. So I'm quickly hitting the 10th fret on the B string. There. Then 12, 10, 8, and then 7 on the B string. So let me play that very, very slowly for you. The next riff that I play starts in the same place. So I've got some little double stops that happen there. I don't think Tom Scholz played any double stops in his recording of this thing. I think that he layered one lead line and then he layered another lead line on top of it to get his twin leads out of that. But if you're playing solo, to approximate that, you pretty much have to use double stops. So here are the double stops. So that's the 7th fret on the G and B strings. That's the 9th and 8th fret. 9th fret on the G, 8th fret on the B. And then slide that pattern up 2 frets. So you're on the 11th fret on the G and the 10th fret on the B. And then this is on the 10th fret of the B and E strings. So that's where that's going. Okay, so that comes all the way up to the 20th fret on the B string and the 19th fret on the E string. And then you're going to vamp all the way up to the 22nd fret on the E string. And then you got the double stop that's on the 19th fret of the B and the 17th fret of the E string. And you'll notice that I'm putting a little bit of tremolo bar, which is kind of anachronistic because Tom Schultz didn't use one. He was playing a Les Paul. Now, this is the most charismatic and identifiable part of that lead. And the whole reason of bothering to play the thing at all, really, in my opinion. So I'm going to show you that. So that's going to be on the hammering on the B string up from 17 to 19 and hitting the 17th fret on the E string. And then the 19th fret on the G string. And then you're going to go this nice little turn. So that turn is on starts on the 19th fret and uses the 20th fret and the 17th fret of the B string. And ends up on the 17th fret of the G string. And then it does the same thing and it'll end up on the 16th fret of the G string. I'm sorry, the 19th fret of the G string. So it'll go 19 on the G string, 20 on the B string, and then it'll come down here to the 15th fret of the G string. So let me play that slowly. So I'm going to get down to these double stops, and that's where it really gets a little bit of, you get into a little bit of fun when you start doing turns on double stops. So let me take you through the end of this little section. So you've got that 19 on the G string, 20 on the B string, 15 on the G string, and then it'll slide down to the 14th fret on the G string, and then come up here and do this turn again. So to do that little section there, you'll come up with the turn that runs from the 19th, 20th, and 17th frets on the B string, and then the 19th fret on the G string, and then 16 to 14. 16 to 14 on the G string, and then a turn from 12 to 14. So the double stop there is the 11th fret on the G string, 10th fret on the B string. Okay, so let's work those double stops there. So that's, you've got 11 and 10 on the G and B, then 12 on both the G and B. And you got this little turn and a slide down. So that's, hits the 12 and then it slides down from 11 and 10 to 9 and 8. That's on the 7th fret of the G string and the B string. And then do this again. And this time you go all the way down to the 5th fret of the G and the B string. And then do a nice little turn on from 10 and 11 to 12. Down to 5 on the G and B. And then it'll climb up 7, then 9 and 8, then 11 and 10. And then the 10th fret of the E string and the B string and the E string. So let me do that, all those little turns with that double stops in that section very slowly. Now I'm going to slow that down even more. I'm going to do something that's probably not anything related to what Tom Schultz did. It's just my attempt to approximate something that I think I'm hearing him do. That's just a little trick that where, you know, I'm just hammering on from 10 to 12 on the B string and the E string back and forth. We'll slow that down so you can see it. Just doing that a little bit faster. So I did this little hammer on here. And then I'm doing a bend with a double stop up here. And what I'm trying to approximate is what sounds like two guitar lines recorded over each other. So I'm on the 18th fret of the B string and the 19th fret of the E string. And then I come back down here and go. And then come up to the 17th fret of the B string. And then I'm going to do this opening riff that's the opening part of the lead. And I'm going to come up here and hit this double stop that's on 20 on the B string and 19 on the E string. And then end with 12 on the B and G, and then 11 and 10 on the G and B. And then finally you've got this chord pattern which you did at the beginning of the lead. Now I'm going to play the entire lead very slowly so that you can get a feel for this particular arrangement. And again, this will not be the authentic Boston arrangement, but it is an arrangement that will work if you're going to play this thing solo, and it'll also work just fine in any ensemble, because in the ensemble, the rest of the members of the ensemble are going to be playing this chord pattern over and over again throughout the lead. All right, so hopefully that'll give you all the materials you need to pull together your own version of Hitch a Ride, or at least to pull together my version of it. And I'm sure that you can improve on that. Appreciate you watching, and the next song that I'm going to put up will be a song of mine called Cream Puff Shuffle, and it's got a few little hot licks in it. Let's see. So that'll be next time. And come and visit me on www.robertbrucescott.com.